All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. How's it going, everybody? Good to see you guys. We don't have anybody yet on the live stream. That's okay. I figure some things out with this. Excuse me. Here we go. Alrighty. All right, we've got some people on. Hi, guys. How's it going? It's yours truly here in person, live streaming from my home in Florida, or at least home where my family is. And yeah, we are here for an exciting evening with you guys. I'm going to be excuse me, I need words, monitoring the comment section as best I can until Amy gets here. Amy is going to be helping me out and tuning in on a phone call to this live stream a little bit later. So she's going to be the one managing that once we get once she gets here. But in the meantime, I'm going to try and do the best I can to monitor the comment section, talk to you guys, because the main point of this live stream is to talk to you guys. It's to answer any questions you may have about New Catholic Generation. There's been a lot that's happened recently. We have the new team in Steubenville. We have people in Philadelphia, and there's some stuff that's personal, some stuff that's not, and so there's some stuff like if you guys want to talk about it, if you guys have questions, if I can answer your questions, I will be more than happy to. Especially stuff about the new team in Steubenville, stuff we have planned, just things that we want to bring to you guys. Yeah, so that's kind of the story as it is right now. I'm seeing over here a few comments have already started, so let's get started with those. Hey, Joe, watching your other video. Oh, here for the live stream. So, recap, I actually did a live stream with this background on my personal channel that I have not used much recently, but I did a live stream there as kind of a test for this here. So yeah, that's kind of what that's about. But yeah, I am well. I am fairly well. Like I said, excuse me. Like I said, I'm home in Florida and just kind of taking a break from the previous semester. But it's not exactly a break because I know there hasn't been a lot out on the channel recently, but I promise you guys, I am doing a ton of stuff as far as preparation for everything going into next school semester in regards to New Catholic Generation. I'm really hoping that we can get a lot of stuff done and a lot of stuff and a lot of content out for you guys. Maybe starting slow, but eventually seeing what we can do and then putting more stuff out with some faces you've seen before, some faces you haven't seen before. So really excited about that. It's your boy. That's right. It scrolled all the way to the bottom for me. Did not want that. Hi. How old are you? I am 21. I am the youngest of the original cast. Fun fact. Best time for my Wi-Fi to lag. Yeah, that is the worst. What's been going on? I was thinking of a really cheesy pun there, but I won't do it. I won't do it. Renee would have, but I'm not going to. Maybe later. Maybe I'll save it for later. GK Chesterton ? What about him? Yeah. Also, for any of you tuning in, sometimes unfortunately the quality of this video may look like it's not that great. Go down to your settings, thinking it should be somewhere around there. It's a little gear bar. Hit that and go up to 720p HD. It should have a little red thing that says HD. And that should give you the better quality version of this live stream. So just in case you're like, this is too blurry, like 720p is a little bit better. It won't seem quite as bad. So actually it'll seem like okay-ish. So Are you still feeling a call to the priesthood? Well, seeing that I am in a relationship with somebody right now, as in I have a girlfriend, I am not discerning the priesthood anymore. That actually ended back in my freshman year of college. I was discerning a vocation to the priesthood, and in the middle of doing it, it became pretty clear to me, not because I had, met or was interested in somebody, but just through prayer, honestly. God kind of was like, you need to be doing something else, and I need you to go and do it now. So, um, yeah, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's was not expecting that. There's a lot more to that story, actually, but that's kind of the abbreviated uh, version of like God kind of made it pretty evident to me that the priesthood was not something he was calling me to. And I know for some of you guys that have been following me for the 6 years I've been on YouTube, that might be a shock, like, because, you know, like, as long as, from, like I said, 15 years old till freshman year in college, I was starting that vocation. And even before that, I wanted it. But it was what I wanted, but it wasn't what God wanted. And I knew that. And I know it's an interesting situation to actually really know that, hey, like, God isn't calling you to this, he's calling you to this instead. Um, but, I know sometimes like people kind of have to figure that out as they go along. And I guess, yeah, that's how he wanted to tell me. So moving on, let's go to some of the other questions. For those of you joining us, we are up to 41 viewers now, and that's awesome. This is a live stream, a question and answer with me, yours truly, and the main topic is discussion about anything New Catholic generation, because there's been times that we've wanted to get stuff out but haven't been able to put as much content out as we would have liked. So if you guys have any questions about New Catholic generation, feel free to ask them. If I can answer them, I will. But also, if you guys have any questions about, for me personally, I'll answer that if I can as well. Just want to get on here, have a good time, and talk to you guys, about New Catholic generation. If you actually want to know something about me, then okay, I guess. But then even our faith as well, and to have deep conversations about, the beauty of the church. So whatever you guys want, you are going to be in big control of what we talk about here. So let's continue looking at the comment section. It scrolled to the bottom again. Gotta find my place. Have you been watching Renee's live rosaries? I've tuned in once or twice. I haven't quite had the opportunity to tune in on a regular basis, but I know she does them, and I spoke to her on the phone either yesterday or the day before, forgetting time-wise which one that was, but spoke to her a day or two ago on the phone and actually discussed the live streams a little bit. So yeah, I'm happy they're working out for her. Have you heard of the Daughters of St. Paul, and what are your thoughts on them? I have heard of the Daughters of St. Paul, actually. My fun fact, my aunt was a daughter of St. Paul. I only say was because a few years ago she actually passed away from cancer. Her name was Sister Annette, and yeah, she was my aunt, and so like I know of the Daughters of St. Paul, and I've been up there to visit them because I went to visit my aunt. So I know several of the daughters, and when I've met them, they've always been very joyful and very kind to me and my family. So that's what I know of them, and I've met up with a few of them. I think my first year at the March for Life, they were at the convention. Not the convention. It was in I don't remember where it was in DC, but it was a day before thing for the March for Life. It wasn't in the Basilica. It was one of the ones in I think it was like a athletic. I don't know if it was a hockey or basketball court thing, but they were actually there, and I was able to catch some of them and meet them, or not meet them, but say hi to them again. So that was a real joy. As far as activity that they are up to as far as books and content and stuff, I haven't kept up with that. So, but as far as personally, I know some of the Daughters of St. Paul just because my aunt, before she passed away from cancer, was a daughter. So, yeah, don't overwork yourself now. Sorry, I'm going back to the comment section. I probably should have said something, but okay, don't overwork yourself now. I'm a college student. I don't have a choice but to overwork myself sometimes, but I do try to take breaks. Yeah. Let's see. I am from Brazil. Are you Renee? No, I am not Renee's boyfriend. My girlfriend is named Sarah. Yeah, and I am very happy in my relationship with her. That is, yeah. Nope, Renee and I are friends, and that is all. If I was younger, I'd offer to help. Nice. Born in a Catholic family? Yes, I was born into a Catholic family. Excuse me. Yeah. I guess there's not much more I can expand upon as far as that goes. Other than the fact that, I was born into a Catholic family. We weren't always like super strong or into our faith. As a family, we kind of grew in our own ways, but also individually. So me, in the midst of that, I also had to grow in my faith. And parts of what happened along that journey are super crucial to who I am today. Another thing that I could expand a lot upon, but don't want to clog that up in the live stream. So if you guys have specific questions about stuff that I can't get into as much, then please feel free to ask them. So cheesy puns are the best. Wow, I'm really behind in the comment section if I'm just getting to the cheesy pun part. Paninis or burritos? I don't know. I don't know what to say on that one. I don't like either one enough to be able to be like, I am taking a stance on this one. For me, it's not a hill that I wish to die upon. So whichever one it is, I might side with burritos a little bit, but I'm not super picky when it comes to that. Hope that answers the question. It does answer the question, but yeah. Hi. How do you cast for New Catholic Generation? We don't. That's not exact. Like cast exactly isn't exactly the right word. Yeah, New Catholic Generation, before it was a YouTube channel, started as a website that was meant to be a platform for all of the different Catholic YouTube channels of young people between 15 and 21. Just a place where you could see all of them. So that's what it was originally. As far as right now, there is a process I went through in creating a new team. That's something that I kind of keep a little bit confidential. So sorry, I can't reveal too much with that as far as that goes. But I will tell you that some of the most important things that I built the team on were things that I was able to do in my thesis. So little quick backstory. For my thesis this past semester, because I'm a senior, so I did my senior thesis. I did a little documentary on, how the creation of the Steubenville came about. And in the midst of that, what I proved was that, the importance of the three core elements, which I built the team around. So the team you guys are just starting to see, I built that team around three core elements. Those three core elements that I think are crucial for creating a Catholic media team and sustaining a Catholic media team are these three, okay? Authenticity, passion, and friendship. Not that there aren't other things involved, but most of the time, most other things can fit under one of those other categories as far as being the core for what I think is really important, in this sort of, this medium of evangelization. So, with that, building the team around those core elements, that's kind of what you have to look forward to as far as like the new cast, the new team that you guys are getting to see. So I'm Protestant, but I love this channel. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you for watching. We're glad to have you here. I know you have met Jim Caviezel. Is he a cool dude? Nice. Yeah. I mean, that was quite an experience, and I mean that in a good way. In case anybody was thinking when I said that it would be different, it was a great experience, and I was a little nervous to be honest. And I don't get nervous like that on a regular basis with people that I guess you would consider like Catholic celebrities. Um, I've learned to kind of keep my cool. I used to get more so. For a while, I was like, really, you know, really appreciated. I mean, I still do really appreciate, but was really, Catholic fanning out on, several different Catholic speakers. That's kind of mellowed down a little bit in some ways, but like for Jim Caviezel, man, he was kind of like on of people that I want to meet in my life here on Earth. He was pretty up there. I got to say this, what I'm about to say to his face. He showed me the face of Christ. When I watched him in the Passion, I didn't see Jim Caviezel. I saw Christ. And because of everything else that movie entailed, like, and how much it meant to me, like, I appreciate what he did so much because he showed me Christ. And like I said, I got to say that to Jim Caviezel, so that was pretty cool. But like, yeah, it was a really good experience. He was, when he was when he was on the stage at Franciscan, he came and gave a talk to the Finnegan Field House was full of Finnegan Field House, for you guys in case you don't know, is it's the biggest. It's kind of like an auditorium. It's where all the basketball games happen. There's a court there and everything, but it's where a lot of the bigger events happen. The chapel that they have on campus isn't quite big enough to hold all of campus. So if we have like kind of an all campus mass type thing, they move it to the Finnegan Field House so they can fit everybody. And even then, it's sometimes bursting at the seams. So when Jim Caviezel came, it was also very packed. But like when he was talking there, it was more talking to everybody. He's a pretty good public speaker, and he was a little bit more energetic in our interview. As you can see, like he was pretty genuine. Like how he was on that interview on the New Catholic Generation channel was similar to how he was with us in real life. He was a little bit more quiet, but still profound when he spoke. So like I said, I really appreciated meeting him, and he was cool. A little bit more quiet than I might have expected, but yeah, definitely very cool. Very cool experience. Okay. Why do you have a girlfriend? I'm not exactly sure why that's a question. But in short, when we first got into a relationship, I really, really liked her. So I asked her out. And so it's been going really well. So yeah. I don't know where else you want me to go with that question. Yeah. So anyway, cool. Protestant, but I love this channel. Oh, another one. Well, again, thank you for coming. We are glad to have you. Asking, okay. Am I attending the March for Life? Yes, probably. I'll probably, sorry, scapular showing Catholic problems. I will probably be going to the March for Life. I'm not guaranteeing it yet. I still want to see about a few things, particularly finances, as far as spending the money to get there. It might not necessarily be a lot, but I'm still like, okay, I got to make sure I can actually afford this. But, provided that ends up being a possibility, I should be going to the March for Life. I really hope I do. Every year I go, I meet up with a bunch of you guys, and it's really a wonderful experience. So yeah. So um, for all of you who are just joining us, I want to remind you that this is a New Catholic Generation live stream question and answer section. So you can ask me whatever questions you want about New Catholic Generation. If you want to know something about me personally, like, okay. We can also talk about something in regards to the faith that you guys want to know. So yeah, just go ahead, ask away. This is supposed to be a really good Q&A session where I get to talk with you guys because, we haven't uploaded a lot of stuff recently, and trust me, we've been working on it. I've been, even though this is Christmas break for me, I've been working on planning a lot of things as far as next semester goes for New Catholic Generation, and I hope that they all pan out. I really do. But like, since, you guys haven't gotten much, and I'm sorry, want to get on this live stream, talk about, anything in regards to New Catholic Generation, the faith, or myself if you guys want to. So that's what we're doing here. Go ahead and ask away in the comments section as we continue to go here. And soon enough, Amy will come in on a phone call to this live stream, and we will be discussing things together. She'll be helping me out with the comment section so I can pay more attention to what you guys are trying to say here. Another reminder, I might miss some stuff because I'm trying to monitor the comment section and be on the live stream as well. Yeah, may we as lay people have Advent candles at home? If you mean an Advent wreath with the purple and pink candles, I believe the answer is yes. I know most Catholic households that I've been in, have one somewhere. Unless you're referring to a question that I'm not sure what the actual like this is referring to a different question than I'm familiar with. Then yeah, that's kind of the answer that I have for that. Why not the priesthood? I guess this is referring to when I was talking about earlier how I discerned out. Like I said, I discerned out of the priesthood, and the only reason, the main and only reason, is because I was certain that God was telling me that's not what he wanted me to do. It's not what he had a different plan for me. While I don't subscribe to the idea of like, oh, like you have to get this right. If you don't get this one thing right, then you're going to mess up God's entire plan for you. I don't subscribe to that. I do believe that if you are truly living your life to the best you can in accordance, with God, and trying to live for him, that the more you continue to do that, like his will reveal itself to you. And in the end, it's not just going to be something that he wants, but also something that you want. It'll be both combined. It's not like God's kind of like a slave master. Like it's not like priests who join, who become priests are just like, well, God wanted me to do this, but I don't want to, but he said I have to, so I'm just the slave. That's not how this works. Like, if you're called to the priesthood, at first you might be like scared or whatever, but like you will want it and you'll love it, right? And same thing with marriage. Like maybe at first you were discerning a vocation, but then all of a sudden you realize it's not for you, and you're like, oh, but I wanted the priesthood. I didn't want to discern a vocation to marriage. Kind of similar to how I was. Like I wanted a vocation of the priesthood, but that wasn't where God was calling me. It's not like I'm now like, oh, well, God wasn't calling me the priesthood, so now I guess I'll be in a relationship. That's not at all how it is. I love being in a relationship. I love my girlfriend, and I'm very happy in that relationship. And I know more so than I ever did when discerning the priesthood that, this is, what God wants for me as far as like discerning this vocation. Discerning the vocation of marriage. So, that's kind of my opinion on that. As for me personally, like I said, like I was certain that it wasn't what God wanted, even if at the time it was what I wanted, and it wasn't going to be the best thing for me. So yeah, that's kind of why I discerned out in summary. Do you write like stories? Not on a regular basis. I have. Sorry, that just gave me a flashback when I was, well, I think it was second, third grade, maybe even younger. I wrote this. I wrote this story. It was like 1 page long, called "The Adventures of Lollipop Man." Can't believe I'm saying this on the New Catholic Generation live stream, but I am. And yeah, my class loved it. It was also kind of a ripoff of the first Spider-Man movie, but not completely. I put a bunch of my own original stuff in there, and but it was pretty fun. I think I dug up the actual paper that I had like printed it all, like typed it all out on. Um, I dug it up a while ago. I don't know where I have it now, but it's it's fun to look back on. It was kind of a good story. But anyway, yeah, so let's see. It scrolled to the bottom again. Sorry guys, I might miss something. Going back up. Do 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 do. Whoa, you guys are leaving some good comments. Um I am not a priest. No, no, I'm not a priest. I am in a relationship. I'm happily in a relationship. Thank you. Not with the church, with another person. Never mind. Cool. Hear you there when I was in high school. Thought about the Carmelite order. There you go. I mean, sometimes God lets it be known in weird ways, right? So, yeah, but hey, good for you for, finding your vocation. Are you going to be doing more skits? Love the serious stuff, but I miss the comedy. Hopefully, yes. I really want to do skits just as much as you guys want to see them. When we started the channel originally, like the skits, sorry, there was a hair on my face, but the skits were something that I wrote most of. And filming them was just always fun. Like I really enjoyed filming the skits. Like when people, I've met a bunch of you guys in person, and sometimes you guys would be like, "Oh, I love the skits," and I would just be like, "You know what? We love making them. It's really enjoyable to make the comedy skits." So you miss them. I also do miss them as well. As far as what we have planned for the future, we wanted to film a skit at the end of this past semester. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. The equipment we needed in order to film that stuff did not quite come in on time, so we weren't able to get that film. But we have a script for a skit fully written. Hopefully we can get to that as soon as possible once next semester begins. We also do have a skit that we filmed earlier on this year that hasn't gotten out yet, so hopefully we can get that edited and get that out as well. So that's 2 skits that'll hopefully come out this next year for sure. And there will be more after that. Tatiana, as some of you guys know, is on the new Steubenville team. She has a great idea for a skit, which I will not reveal yet. You'll have to stay tuned for that one. But she has a really good idea for a skit that I'm definitely looking forward to potentially doing. Yeah, but like I said, we enjoy the comedy skits. They are a little bit more difficult to edit. That's why we don't make them as much. Because as well as filming them, there's creative license that needs to be taken in the midst of editing them. Some skits are easier to film than others. So for instance, the Catholic Saints fantasy football skit, that was fairly easy, I think, to edit. Like there were some complications in it, but I think it wasn't too hard. It was more like a panel discussion format type thing, but a skit video instead. So that wasn't too hard. Actually, oddly enough, the how to study the Catholic way was not a hard one to film either. How to shop the Catholic way was more complex. We had to go out to the store to actually film stuff. But how to study the Catholic way, filming did not actually take very long. We're at a college and we're talking about how to study the Catholic way. So the background for what we needed was right there. So that didn't take long, but most of them, you know, take a really long time to either film, edit, or both. Uh, Although the most time consuming ones are the Catholic Watch and Respond videos, which there's a reason you guys have seen even less of those than you have the skits, is because those are the ultimate, you know, they take forever. Recording one person, like one person's response to 4 different videos, which is what we normally did, took anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. That was just for one person. And we would normally have, you know, some of them we've had so many people in, like basically count an hour for every person you see in filming time there. Then on top of that, the editing. I mean, I haven't had to edit one of those. If you become a patron on our Patreon, David actually posted a behind the scenes link to him editing one of those videos, and they're just insane, the amount of time, because, you know, you don't want the video to be too long. And anyway, I won't get into it, but there's a lot of work involved in those too. So yeah, that's kind of the story as far as that goes. But yeah, hopefully we will be putting more comedy skits out. That was a really long way of answering that. I'm even more behind in the comments section now, so let's continue. Have you been to the liturgy of any other Catholic rites? I have. I have been to, I think, a Maronite rite, I believe. Can't remember if I've been to a Byzantine rite one or not. If so, it was a long time ago, but that's the same for the Maronite rite. It was a long time ago. Yeah, so I should go again, honestly. I'd love to go to another Catholic rite and go to one of their one of the masses. Yeah, that would be or one of their liturgies. That would be great. So thanks for reminding me of that. What do you think of the Society of St. Pius X? I'm not going to get into that one right now. The reason for that is I personally feel like I need to do more research on the topic. I've heard mixed things on them as far as that, like people being like, oh, they're heretical. Oh, they're just like, they don't listen to the Pope, but they haven't actually done it. I've heard a bunch of different things. But I think with the response, you know, talking to you guys, I have the responsibility of, before talking about it, to know specifically, you know, through researching, looking at all sides of things, to be more certain on the things that I've heard and seen than I currently am. There's unfortunately a lot of confusion with that. So I'm not going to answer that right now, because not because I'm trying to cheat you guys out of something, but because I want to be responsible. That's something that a lot of us, I think we need to, just in society in general, especially while we're using social media, need to work on more and not just lashing out in anger to something. So yeah. Hi, your channel changed my life. Greetings from the Netherlands. Wow. That's, you know, that's an honor to hear. I'm glad you're watching. Thank you for watching, and whatever it was that happened, just that this channel, you know, did for you, just praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. What are you most excited for NCG this year? What are you most excited about for? Sorry, there wasn't a typo there, and I almost thought there was. Wow, that's a... You know, I'm excited. I'm excited to work with everybody on the team. I'm friends with everybody on the team, and they're just such great people. And I can't wait to just have a semester where I'm working with them on a regular basis to do this, you know, New Catholic Generation. I'm just really looking forward to the process as well as the final product. Like, and I think that's my mentality with a lot of the different things we do. I enjoy a lot of times doing it, the process of doing it, as well as what ends up, you know, being there in the end. So yeah, let's see. What are you taking in college? What are your plans for the future? Well, in college, I am a communications major with a concentration in digital broadcast production, basically video production. I like doing this kind of stuff, the stuff I do on NCG and some of the stuff I do at my job on campus. And so I had an opportunity to do a freelance job in Pittsburgh a couple summers ago, and that was really fun. Um, so yeah, the video production side of things, whether it's in front of the camera like now or behind the camera, I can do both, and I enjoy both. So as far as what I plan to do after college, I'm not setting anything in stone yet. I need, once I get out of college, I obviously need to get on my feet, need to do as much as I can to get a job, save up money, pay off a little bit of debt, and potentially have a family one day. Need to be responsible with that, and get on my feet as soon as possible. But just kind of the way things are in my life right now, there are some variables that I've got to see how they work out in order to do. But I'm gonna job search a lot next semester in the midst of my school semester. So yeah. How does it look like being Catholic in America? Greetings from Croatia. Well, that's an interesting question. My question would be, I guess, like, how do you contrast what it's like being a Catholic here as opposed to being a Catholic in Croatia, for instance? Like, I don't know what your culture is like in Croatia, so I don't know exactly what to compare it to as far as that goes. I will say that, unfortunately, in America, in my opinion, just from my observation, and maybe some of you guys have observed different, but from my observation, there's a lot of lukewarmness, and that's a serious problem. There are a lot of people that, and I say this because I used to be one of just like, okay, don't commit the big mortal sin, don't miss mass on Sunday or a holy day, but other than that, like, other than your hour, maybe 2 hours on any particular week of being at mass, like, the rest of your week is yours. Like, it won't necessarily have anything to do with your faith. That was me, and unfortunately that's a lot of people in this country, at least, and I'm sure in more than just this country, across the world, as far as the Catholic Church goes. We need more passion. We need more passion for our faith. At the same time, passion doesn't necessarily mean biting other people's heads off because I disagree with you. That's another extreme that a lot of people take in the church as well. So balance is so hard for human beings. It's just so hard. And if you think about it, if you're walking on a tightrope, it's really easy to fall to your death on the right or fall to your death on the left. But to stay on that very narrow tightrope, that narrow way, like, that's really hard. It's the hardest thing to do. And that's why we're called to pick up our crosses every day. That's why we're called to the hard path. That's the hard path, and it's hard to do. Finding a balance of, not, going too far in one way, not going too far in the other way. That's my opinion, at least. You guys have other thoughts, let me know. Becoming a parent your choice or God's calling? I did kind of already answer this. As far as, like, if God is calling you to something because he knows you best, you will be happy in that. It's just like, it's not like, oh, God's calling me to be a priest, I'm going to be miserable now because this isn't what I want. No. Like, if he's calling you to be a priest, you may not like it when you first kind of figure that out, but you won't be in that vocation if you don't love it. You won't. That's not how God works. So yeah. Dogs or cats? Warning, this is a very loaded question. Yes, it is. And you know how I was saying earlier about the questions about burritos and I don't remember what the other thing was, but anyway, you know how there was that question, and I said, like, could be either one, but I'm not willing to die on that hill. I'm willing to die on this hill. Dogs are better than cats. Cats want to take over the world, in my opinion. I mean, anyway, yeah, I don't really like cats. I've never really liked cats. I got attacked by a cat once at a job that I had. They had, like, to me, they always seem like they have this attitude of, like, you despicable humans, like, you are worthless. You are my slaves. And whereas dogs are just like the complete opposite. So that's just my opinion. Like, I'm not going to hate on any of you guys if you do like cats. A matter of fact, Ned and Saida love cats. I don't think Ned likes dogs. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I could be totally wrong, but I I'm not sure if Ned likes dogs that much, but I know he loves cats. So, yeah, let's move on. Joe has a dozen questions to answer before he reaches this comment. Yes, I do. What are you studying as your major? I think I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention it again. I am a communications major in digital broadcast production and a theology minor. So, another cool fun fact. Greetings from the Netherlands. Great to see you live. Thank you. Were you involved in a Secret Santa this year? Yes, I was, actually. I don't know what other details to give other than that, but I was involved in a Secret Santa this year. So, there's that. People are saying it's great to see me. That's so nice. Again, sorry if I missed stuff. Most rewarding experience for working on New Catholic Generation. Ooh. Wow. I mean, guys, guys, let me tell you a thing. Okay, let me tell you a thing. Like, this whole YouTube experience changed my life for sure. Definitely changed my life. I am, you know, I've learned so much from being on YouTube. Like, I've learned so much. Like, that's the first thing I'll say. Like, it's not a matter of like, oh, like I got to say all this stuff. It was like I learned so much about a bunch, even from the comment section that are sometimes insane. From you guys, I've learned so much from you guys. I've learned a lot about myself, about how I react, about who I am. And even sometimes it forced me to learn more about the church or even develop my thoughts more on, and be able to even defend things better of, why I love the church. So it's hard because of that reason to pin it down to one thing. But I think for me, the most rewarding experience has been when you guys, like, when something that we do touches you guys. Like, I mean, I'm not going to hear about all of it, but I've heard of some of it. So, for instance, when I did the video a couple summers ago on, how to deal with death as a Catholic, and I shared my testimony, it was really personal. Some of you guys were just so encouraged by that because you had been going through stuff as bad or worse than me. And like, there was something that, a bunch of you guys were just like, I needed to hear that, And as a fellow human being, I understand what it's like to be like, man, I needed to hear that. Like, I understand that feeling so deeply. And for you guys at some points to, to be saying that to something that we did, like, I'm not worthy to be a part of that. I'm not worthy to be a part of something that touched you, but for some weird reason, God still decided to use me. So like, that's incredible. That's incredible. I told myself when I was, starting to, to grow more in my faith, when I started to take it on as my own, that like, the only thing I wanted was to know that I had helped one person in some small way in their faith. And like, God didn't have to show me the rest because I understood that, you could get prideful and stuff. And like, that happens, and like more so than I deserve. Far more than I deserve. Gosh, guys. Like, I don't deserve to know that you guys have been helped by this, or even that one of you guys have been helped. Asking that prayer in the first place was more than I deserved, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. Cool. So let's see. I missed some comments. Most rewarding experience. That's what I just did. Joe's probably the best part of it. I'm really not. I'm not the best part of NCG, but it's it's flattering for you to say that, regardless. Yeah. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Even if I disagree, I appreciate it. So thank you. Sorry, it scrolled to the bottom again, trying to figure out where to go. Do you have any advice for converting Protestants to Catholicism? Yes, I do. The first thing is to realize that you won't convert anybody from Protestantism to Catholicism, because it's not you who converts. That's the most important thing to recognize, is that if you're relying on your own strength, you're in trouble. I was helping my former roommate out with a documentary that he's doing on spiritual warfare. And one of the things that I mentioned in this documentary is that, guys, the power of Satan and his minions is something we have no comprehension of. They have been around. You know, we're all like babies as far as like intelligence, as far as like knowledge of history and everything goes, compared to that. They know, they have watched and studied. They have nothing else to do with it. They don't want to do anything else with their time other than, you know, hurt God by the only way they can, and that's getting us away from him. Like, they have been studying humankind and how humans react for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Like, it's insane. It's insane. You know, the experience that they have is, you know, terrifying. So if we try to go at that on our own, the devil knows how humans normally react. And that's how he so easily knows, like, oh, I'm going to try to push this button. I'm going to try to push that. But the reason we shouldn't be afraid is because God, who is above Satan, it's not like the typical movies. The typical movies are like, oh, good and evil. They're just like, as far as power, they're just like neck and neck. And like, oh, the good might barely win out. Oh, no, the evil. That's not how it is at all. Like, God is all powerful. Satan doesn't stand a chance. It's like, they're not even on the same, like, if you're trying to level, like, to measure levels of power, like, it's not even on the same scale. Like, sometimes we talk about how, you know, it's not like sin is like, oh, venial sin's over here on this scale, mortal sin on this end of the scale. Like, that's not how it is. Mortal sin is an entirely different scale. Like, they're not, you know, they're on different scales. It's the same way here. Just like, Satan may have a lot of power, but God's level of dominion is so much, it's not even on the same, you know, level. Like, you can't even compare it because it's so much greater. It laps comparison. You know, his power is so great, and his, you know, his power over Satan and what he has to do is so great. So the moment, you know, the only way people are going to join the church is if Christ uses us, not if we try to be the ones to say, hey, this is, you know, this is something I can do all on my own. I'm not saying that that's what you were saying in the comments. I'm not saying that you were trying to say, I can do it all on my own. How do I do this? But all I'm doing is saying that, you know, using this as an opportunity to emphasize conversion is a matter of the Holy Spirit. Conversion happens in the heart. And sometimes, you know, maybe it is something you say, but you still, it's not you who says it. It's something that the Holy Spirit, you know, says through you. Or even if, you know, even is something you say, like, he, you know, from his infinite knowledge of who the person is, uses something you say to touch them in a particular way. So that's, you know, that's kind of the core part of evangelization. Other than that, there are a lot of general things of like, okay, what version of Protestantism? Like the facts of like, oh, are they, do they believe in sola scriptura? Go according to that, faith alone, all this stuff. Like that's a whole bunch of other stuff that would, each take an individual like lecture to really get through. But the core of it, the heart of it is the Holy Spirit converts hearts, not us. So yeah, that was a really long answer. Sorry about that. Is New Catholic Generation planning to do any more movie reviews in the future? I really miss them. Yes, actually, we are going to have a trailer review come out at the beginning of January. I won't tell you what it is for yet, but we have been in contact with some of the same people that have helped us review Paul, and I Can Only Imagine. And we are going, in working with them, we're like, they asked us to do a movie review because like they just notified us that they had a movie that was coming out that we didn't know about. And because we worked with them before, it's something we decided to do. So we are going to be doing another movie review. The actual movie review will probably be around April, I'm guessing, but maybe March, maybe, yeah. Anyway, but the trailer review will be coming up at the beginning of January. So we'll look forward to that. I need to edit that. Never mind. Moving on. Have you ever experienced any bullying, violence for being openly Christian? That's a good question. I have experienced bullying before, not specifically for being Christian, as far as physically being, bullied. I've definitely experienced a sort of prejudice, a sort of looking down upon because of certain beliefs. I've definitely experienced that. As far as physical violence, I have not experienced that to my recollection. So even if I have, it couldn't have been that memorable or I'd remember it. Yeah, but I do know that I have heard at least that it is a thing for some people. So yeah. How do you juggle schoolwork and planning and executing stuff for New Catholic Generation? That is the ultimate question, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that is the ultimate question. I don't know. And I obviously don't do the best job of it because otherwise you guys would have had a little bit more content this past semester. But we were, getting a lot of things, taken care of and forming a basis. So I'm not saying I did a terrible job, but I, obviously you can always improve on things. That's what I'm saying. But it's crazy because school life, while work life is consistent, okay, you work from this time to this time. School is like, hey, you're like doing schoolwork from this time here, but then you have this other thing you have to go take care of. Or like in this other class, you have a group project that people are only free for this time. So you got to fit that into your schedule somehow. And you should probably eat something at some point. And, you got this other thing going on and you have to study for this class, or this class requires a lot of extra studying, even though this other one doesn't. Like this other one, it's definitely a crazy life. I was telling my mom a few days ago that it's like, it's working for much longer than 8 hours a day, at least for me. Some people, maybe it's different. For me, there's always something happening. I do thankfully sometimes take a break. But, a lot of times it's just juggling stuff everywhere and it's crazy. And yeah, shows that I do love this channel and I love you guys because, if I didn't, I probably wouldn't still be doing this. So, yeah. Have you ever been to a Latin Mass? Yes, I have. Are you guys planning to make more New Catholic Generation skits? I believe I mentioned that. I made the answer to that earlier. So I'm going to continue, but short answer, yes, we have something written and something that is still in need of editing. So yeah. How did your Advent go this year? Well, the beginning of Advent was rough as it is always, because Advent always starts around finals. it's hard to get your mind wrapped around trying to prepare for the coming of our Lord when you've got finals creeping up on you in every single actually, yeah, that particular week that Advent started, like I think it was the last week of classes, I had every project under the sun due, on top of 3 of my 6 finals due that same week. It was actually probably 4 of 7. Yeah, 4 of 7 finals, I guess, if you say it that way. But like, and I was taking 5 classes. So yeah. And I was my thesis presentation on top of that. So like, yeah, it was, I didn't get the best start at preparing for Advent. And now, yeah, now it's almost over, and it's like, darn. Yeah, and I haven't had the best past few Lents either, because Lent is sometimes in the middle of midterms, and that's always crazy. Why does this happen? Like, I'm just thinking about this even more so now. Like, why does this have to happen this way? Oh, but I got to figure out a way to do it, because spiritual life is important. So I'm not trying to offer excuses for myself. I'm saying it's hard, but I got to figure out a way. So if you guys have any tips to help me out, like, let me know. Do you listen to podcasts? No, I'm sorry. So as some of you guys know, Patrick from The Crunch has helped us out with several videos. He's been a good friend of mine since freshman year. We've had some, we're pretty good friends. I need to hang out with him more on a friendship level, just, hanging out. We need to hang out more. Like, so if Patrick, if you're watching this, we need to hang out more. But yeah, he's been trying to get me to listen to podcasts, and I told him that I was like, jokingly, I'll be like, okay, well, when you have me on your podcast, like we've had you on the channel, then I'll listen to your podcast more often. So he hasn't done that, so I haven't listened to podcasts more often. Yeah, so that's kind of the story there. I wonder where Amy is. She's probably here soon, or she's trying to get in contact with me, and I haven't seen it. Oh, that's a long question. Okay. Do Catholics believe that Protestants go to heaven? What about non-Christians? Oh, that's a long question. The reason it's a long question is because it's not a simple answer as, yes, I believe, of saying definitively, yes, all Protestants go to heaven, or no, Protestants do not ever go to heaven. It's not as simple an answer as that. Trying to figure out if I have time to go into this right now, because this is already a very long live stream. See if I can give a short answer to this. Okay. So the important thing is to go with the teachings of the church on this, right? It's important to remember that, we know that the nice answer here would be to say, yes, of course, like, just because you're not Catholic doesn't mean that you can't go to heaven. So we have to recognize, okay, that's the nice answer. But just because it's a nice answer doesn't mean that it's completely false. Doesn't mean that there isn't truth in it, whether entirely or partially. That's an important thing to recognize. Just because something's nice doesn't mean it's true, but also doesn't mean it's false. We have to approach this of looking at what's true, and also considering the dignity of the human person. Keep all those things in mind. So what I'd say as a short answer, and like, honestly, I could spend an entire video on this, so it doesn't do it justice to say it, to just talk about it here. But in short, the sacraments, what the Catholic Church has that gives life to the soul. The sacraments are the source of grace, right? That's what, the church teaches, that Christ gives his grace through the sacraments, but Christ's grace, he does not limit himself to the sacraments. So that means he can give graces outside of the sacraments. He's not limited like, oh, unless you get these sacraments, you will have no grace. That is not the teachings of the church. So, we know that. So let's go to this is turning out to be a longer answer than I thought. I'll try to keep it short, I promise. We all know that, if you have somebody that's stranded on an island and and they never hear of Christ. We know the church talks about, there's a possibility of invincible ignorance of how, they never had the opportunity to know about Christ. The Lord will judge them according to the natural law and how they live the natural law, right? I would say the island analogy is more applicable to our society today than a lot of people might think. The common objection is, well, we have the internet these days. So how can people not know about Jesus? How can people not know about the Catholic Church? My answer in response to that is that media sometimes actually can make things worse. Here's what I mean by that. So many people say the name Jesus, but the way they portray it is something completely different than who Jesus actually is. So if anything, sometimes media is making it harder for people to find about Christ, his church, and who his church really is. Because even as far as the Catholic Church goes, how many misconceptions are there about the Catholic Church? One of my favorite quotes of all time is Bishop Sheen talking about how, thousands upon thousands upon, how many people hate the church, the Catholic Church, for what they think she is, but a very select few hate her for what she really is, right? I think that's really true. I think if a lot of people knew what the church was, they would be Catholic. Now, am I trying to say that, oh, in that case, like most people, if they would have known, like they would have been Catholic, is that saying most people go to heaven? I wouldn't necessarily go that far. Again, we're sticking with the teachings of the church here, right? We're sticking with what, we know to be true. In the scriptures, when the Lord talks, uses this analogy of the narrow way and the wide way, he says that many go down the path, many go down the wide way, that doesn't lead to heaven, right? He says many people go down that way, but few are those who choose the narrow path, the path that leads, to heaven. So like, I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, it's fine. Most people, if I'm sticking with scripture, right? If I'm sticking with scripture, I definitely acknowledge that. But here's the thing. My general answer to that is you can't say for sure if anybody's going to heaven. We know for sure that the saints are in heaven. And, I think we know I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is some church teaching that specifically, talks about how, Judas is in hell. I think we know that for sure. And all the saints, the canonized saints, are in heaven. We have miracles, scientific proof that they are in heaven. So we know that. As far as if somebody is going to heaven or not, maybe somebody doesn't know about Christ, and maybe that's not their fault, but maybe it is. Or maybe, for instance, let's take this example. I brought this up a few days ago. Maybe somebody is honestly and authentically searching for the truth. Think of the conversion stories of. Think of people that were like vehemently anti-Catholic, but ended up, because they were truly searching for the truth, they found the Catholic Church, they found Christ, and they converted. Say there's somebody like that is, very much searching for the truth. And if they end up living, their entire life along that process, they convert, they become Catholic. But let's say, for instance, that it's a different universe. It's a different reality. And if that person would have the chance to live all that way, they would have found that. But say they don't. And before they get to that point, they die. But if they would have been able to keep living, they would have found the truth. We have no way of knowing if that would be true, right? But God does. Because God knows their hearts. See, I think the whole thought of God knowing the human heart is one of the most important arguments of this, not because you're trying to be nice, but because his ways are not our ways. He knows so much more than we do. And he knows, like if somebody is honestly and authentically searching for the truth. And he knows, like, even if they are authentically searching for the truth and they haven't found it yet, or if they never find it because of no fault of their own, there's possibilities in there. In the end, we can't judge it for sure. But we do know that the closer you are to Christ and his church, the further you, like, not just Catholic, because you can be Catholic and, end up in hell for the rest of eternity. Like, it, unfortunately, I think it has happened a lot because there's so many people in the church that have led others astray. And that's just talking about church history in general. So, like, I would say that there are so many Catholics that are not in heaven, are not even in purgatory right now because they've led so many people astray. So it's not just like, oh, you're Catholic and you're good. Like, no, that's not what this is at all. The moment you think that, the moment there's something wrong. But I would say, like, when you are truly living Catholicism, like, the more you do that, the better your chances go. Because I would say chances, even somebody that is staunchly Catholic, like, you don't know what's going on in their head, and maybe, say, for instance, at the hour of death, you don't know the things, but maybe they despair at the last minute. Maybe they commit a mortal sin at the last minute that you never know of, but they end up not being in heaven. Somebody that was staunchly Catholic. It's theoretically possible. So to me, it's more of a matter of chances. But realizing in the end, you can't ever judge for sure because you're not the ultimate judge. Like, Christ tells us, okay, you can know these things from these things. There are some judgments that are good, some judgments that are bad, but knowing for sure, that's not our jobs. We have to recognize in humility our role as people. Yeah, I've taken way too long for this question. There's a lot more to it than just that. So if you have any more questions and you'd like to see an actual video on this, I hope I was pretty clear on that. Yeah, but yeah, we can continue that conversation later. Goodness. Find my place. Come on, where am I? Wow, you guys are leaving a lot of good comments. Whoa, guys, I missed so much. Oh my gosh, you guys are doing so well. Too well. I gotta catch up. Okay, I'm about there, guys, I promise. Okay. If you see, okay. Good. Wow. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to filter through the discussion you guys are having at some points. Okay, here we go. Do you read the comments of the New Catholic Generation videos? Me personally, sometimes. Most of the time, I think, especially at our very beginning, David read all the comments. These days, depending, sometimes I will read them. Unfortunately, I do not get the chance to read all of them, but somebody on our team, I'm pretty sure that somebody on our team reads almost all of them. I don't think we have the ability to literally read all of them, but we read most of them, most all of them. Somebody on the team reads. Amy, who may or may not be here. Anyway, she has, especially recently, has been reading a lot of them. So, yeah. What is your favorite saint movie? Ooh, good question. Damien of Molokai is a good one. And actually, Paul the Apostle of Christ, that we did the movie review on, is technically a saint movie. So I gotta say that's up there. Actually, that may be my favorite, honestly. My new favorite saint movie. So, yeah. Are you well known on campus for NCG? I don't know. I mean, I've had several people come up to me and say stuff, but I've also heard from friends of mine that know me as my friend that they've talked to people and other people, you know, have not wanted to come up to me. I don't know who those specific people are, but some people have been nervous to come up to me because they've been like, like, I don't know, he's, like, you know, he's famous in New Catholic Generation or whatever, which is not what I like to hear because I'm one of you, like, I'm a Catholic like you guys, and I don't like the whole fame business. Like, it's just not me. Like, I like being real, and to me fame doesn't come across to real to me. So but like excuse me. So like I know some people on campus come and know me because of that, but I know sometimes I've had friends that I've, you know, been friends with them for a while, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I know you from your Catholic Generation. I just thought it would be weird to say something." I'm like, "Okay, cool, no problem." I appreciate that they got to know me as people, and that if that's how they wanted to do it, that's cool too. So yeah, I don't know what the extent of it is, but it doesn't concern me too much because, yeah, like that's not what matters, so it doesn't concern me too much. What was your favorite video that New Catholic Generation has done? Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you for that, Emma. Emma, thank you for that question. Oof. Okay, as far as quality, one of the best quality skits we ever made was, I think, the Catholic Youth Minister one and the How to Shop the Catholic Way. Those, I think, are two of the best quality skits we have ever done. There probably are others that I'm not thinking of right now, but those are the two that come to my head. So, as far as full videos that have been my actual favorite, I think it would kind of relate to what I said earlier about how one of the things I get from most are when you guys are touched by something we do. So I think some of my favorite videos that we've done haven't necessarily been because they've been like the best, highest quality video, but have been stuff like, you know, when I talked about, you know, how to deal with death as a Catholic, and some of you guys were really touched by that. Or when some of you guys watch Ned's testimony on, like, you know, mental illness, and, you know, some of the stuff he's been through on his on his synod video, and how he, you know, he talked about that, and some of you guys who relate were like, oh, like that encourages me so much, or like, you know, like those are the moments I love. Those are the videos that do that. Those are the ones I love. And I love the skits. I love when you guys get to laugh, because sometimes, you know, we're so focused on the serious stuff that we just need to sit back and laugh and appreciate our faith for the joy it brings, you know. So I do love those for that reason, but I also love when you guys are touched, you know, in deep parts of you. Like, any video that I would say is my favorite, again, isn't my favorite for the specific part of the video, but it would be more of my favorite because of you guys. So yeah, that's what I would say to that. Okay. Wait. I think. Hold on. Hold on. I think Amy's here. Hey, Amy's here. Amy, cool. Let me log on to the email, and we can get you on a phone call right here. Yeah. Cool. Wow, I'm so behind on comments. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry I'm so behind. But you guys are getting me going. I hope you guys are enjoying this, by the way, even though I am behind. Let's see. Amy's here. Who do you like better, Ned or David? Oh, you guys. Okay. So I did a live stream on my personal Instagram, which, if you guys want to go follow me, that's Jemp, JEM as in Michael, P, aka TCA 97. That's my Instagram. If you guys want to follow me there. But I was doing a live stream on my Instagram a few days ago, and I think Mark asked me that question. He was like, "Oh, like jokingly, like, who's your favorite?" And I told him, I was like, "I can't pick favorites. Like, I can't do that. Like, you know, when you like kind of like what my parents would tell my sister and I when we were little, just like, I love you both, you know, in your own unique ways, but not necessarily more that you can't compare that. Same thing here. I can't, you know, be like, who do I love better? Like, who do I like better, David or Ned? Like, Ned and I have our special, you know, things, and same with David as far as like our friendship goes. So yeah. But I miss them both, tell you that much. Okay. Amy, if you're watching this, I'm on the New Catholic Generation email, so just send an email to the New Catholic Generation email, and I can access the Hangout through that, and you can get on the phone call through there. Cool. Do you watch scary movies? Ned watches scary movies. I've watched a couple with him, but it's not something I like doing on a regular basis. Hello from Chile. Wow. That's awesome. Thank you for joining this live stream. I've heard it described that understanding St. Michael as Satan's rival makes more sense to keep in mind that God is not on the level of any creature. Actually, I wouldn't even agree with that. And this is a friendly disagreement, by the way. But, you know, the power of God runs through each angel, right? And the most powerful angel, the least powerful angel. So go to the go to the ninth choir of angels, that are, the choir is just called angels, and go to the very least in power of those. That angel is far more powerful than Satan himself. Why? Because the power of God runs through that angel. The angel, has said yes to God and runs by his power. So that means your guardian angel is more powerful than Satan. Your guardian angel, the one that God has assigned you with, of course, God is going to assign you an angel that is more powerful than all of hell. Like, of course, because he loves you that much. It only makes sense, right? So, yeah, I would disagree with that. Like, Saint Michael is far more powerful, eons and eons more powerful than Satan is, because the power of God runs through him. There's no comparison. Yeah, that's my take on it. I think some of that, especially the lowest angel being higher than the greatest devil, is pretty sure I've heard that from some of my friends who have taken angelology. Don't quote me on it, but I think I have. Hi, New Catholic Generation. I used to love your videos and still do. I've realized I have grown apart from Catholicism and stopped going to church. Any advice to revitalize my faith? Love your work, guys. From Malta. Well, thank you, Joseph, with an F, or Joseph. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. So I don't want to offend you by mispronouncing your name. But yeah, that's thank you for watching the channel. As far as revitalizing your faith, it's hard to know your story, as because I don't. I don't know what it was that kind of let you fall away a little bit from the church. What was it in your life that did that? But in general, the most important part, the core aspect of our faith, is the Eucharist. I recently heard a quote. I don't know who said it, but there was a quote that said, once you truly, understand, not in the sense of like how it happened, because like the Eucharist is a mystery, right? But like once you like understand in your heart, once you know the Eucharist, because the Eucharist is Christ, you won't ever leave the church. Not because you're forced to, but because your heart won't let you. Obviously, that's not church dogma. But the Eucharist is the most essential part of our Catholic faith. It's so beautiful if you dive into the theology of why Christ would do that, of how he wants to be with you so intimately that he would humble himself so low as to come under the appearance of bread and be so vulnerable in that. Like, think of all the Eucharistic abuses that have happened. But Christ, knowing all of this, still became so vulnerable to us so that he could show how much he loved us and still does love us. So I would say, really, just not knowing much at all about your life, go to the Eucharist. Like, dive deep into the Eucharist and, go as far as you can with that. That would be my suggestion. Also, just like, there are also the general things of, like, if you're really interested, like, dive into the fathers of the church, talk to a priest that is, solid, in Catholicism, do all those things. But first and foremost, the Eucharist is the core of our faith. So that's what I would say. Love the Try Not to Laugh videos. Okay, I lost my place again here, guys. Sorry. Do you guys have a big fun group message with all the people from New Catholic Generation? What is the group chat called? We do, actually, there are two group chats. There's a group chat for the Steubenville team, and there's a group chat for the original cast. So the Steubenville one is NCG Steubenville. The other one is, I don't actually, I just always click on it because of the profile picture, so I never look at that, but I think it's something like New Catholic Generation. But, like, yeah, it doesn't have any fancy name to it, but yeah, we do chat in there. Sometimes it's about, YouTube stuff. Sometimes we just have fun talking because we're friends, right? We're all friends. And no matter what, I think, like, regardless of whatever happens, like, we're friends and we love each other as friends, as a family. And yeah, so that's us. Okay. Sorry. Just make it this far down. He stands request. Ha! I made it this far down. I love meeting challenges. Sorry, that's just quirky me. Yep, Amy does listen to podcasts. Amy, invite me to hang out on the New Catholic Generation email. Just send me the link in an email. All right. Sorry, guys. How can I study for a confirmation exam? Do I study from Vatican II documents? That kind of depends on your program, your curriculum. Yeah, I don't know what you guys have been studying. If you guys have been studying the documents of Vatican II, like, then whichever specific one you have been studying, then, like, yeah, study that, but I can't really tell you. This stuff must have been when I was talking about salvation. Yeah. What would you say, New Catholic Generation, to all the priests who have molested young under their care? Yeah. So I don't know if you guys saw, but we did a video. That was our first, like, besides the intro video to this team, that was our first official video for the Steubenville team. I almost don't want to respond to this question because the fact that there are priests who have done this to children, and even to it's more than an issue of just to children. Obviously, it is an issue to abusing even some adults, seminarians, and so on and so forth. And just it's so heartbreaking and so that I just want to it makes me want to just go off like, how could you do that? Like, how could you ever want to, how could this thought ever cross your mind? And I'm trying to contain myself, when hearing that. But I think, kind of like Patrick said in our introduction video, or not our introduction video, our first video for the channel when we were addressing this, is the important thing is to focus and give our love and attention to the victims of these abuses. That's the most important thing. When we do otherwise, when we focus too much on, the people who've done, not that we shouldn't, put these people in, the people who have done these crimes in jail forever. Not that they shouldn't be punished, but that like our primary concern needs to be the victims. I think that was really important. I really loved what he said on that. And I think that needs to be our main focus. So, yeah. Whoa, where'd the conversation go? Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Amy, for taking care of that that question on the topic of homosexuality. Oh shoot, I lost my place again. I'm not far now from the bottom. Ha! I've gotten back to the bottom, guys. You guys are slacking. No, just kidding. Okay. On continuing this conversation, how do you say to others to come to your religion when that happens? When it's so well known? Okay. I thought I understood this question. That second part is making me a little confused. So, because the further you are away from the sacraments, the further you are away from Christ, the bigger chance there is of your soul being in danger. Means all the more that you should love people more. Means all the more that you should, in charity, be trying to reach out to people, be like, hey, like, I love you, I care about you, and I care about, and this is what I believe. Be willing to have a conversation about it and being like, hey, if I'm wrong, then I'll be willing to admit that, but I am so confident in what I believe that I don't think that the church is wrong, and that I'm willing to talk about this. I think, again, the important, first and foremost, always realize the Holy Spirit moves hearts. Second, you approach things in the best possible way you can given the particular situation. Sometimes, and this is speaking because I'm one of those people, sometimes I need to be pushed. Sometimes talking to me too nicely is not going to help me to change. It's not going to help me to go continual conversion. Sometimes I need a kick in the pants. Sometimes I need that. Sometimes, though, I need to just be like, hey, it's okay, and to be talked to more gently because of something. And maybe some people are always need more of this and always need more of that. But people are just so different, and putting them in a cookie cutter, is not how you do evangelization. So know the situation you're in. If somebody needs to be talked to with a lot of kindness, then make sure you do that. And most of the times, a lot of times, that's the situation. So just know the situation, and know the person you're talking to, know them as a person, and rely on the Holy Spirit for help. That's kind of the main thing. Okay, why do we have to pay for Adam and Eve's sin? Well, the thing is, we don't. Christ paid the price for that. If you're saying why are there still effects from it, it's because it's okay. Here's the thing: grace, right? Grace is a gift given. When that grace was given to Adam and Eve, and they broke from God, they destroyed that gift. Therefore, if that gift doesn't exist anymore, it's not something they can pass down to their children, right? God doesn't intervene and say like, oh, here's all of that back, because we made a choice as human culture. And believing that God loves us, we also have to know that Adam and Eve, they're the situation they were in of with everything, they had the best chance of succeeding that any of us did. We look back on things in hindsight. We look back on things in a matter of oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I do believe that Adam and Eve God gave them the best chance to succeed, and they didn't. If any of us were in that situation, we can't know what it's like to have been in that situation, because it's so different. Like, our mentality right now is so stained with original sin that we don't know what it would have been like to have been in that situation. In short, Adam and Eve, chose this for all of humanity because they destroyed a gift, which by destroying it, they couldn't hand it down. They couldn't hand it down to their children and their children, all the way down to us. You can't give a gift that you don't have. Adam and Eve had a gift, but they destroyed it. That's the short answer. I got to keep going in the comment section, but that's the short answer. Dive into more fathers of the church and actual church teaching explanation to get a more full version of that. I'm not a professional theologian. Oh man, I lost my place again. It scrolled all the way to the bottom. Okay. Could you do more skit videos? Working on it. I already did mention that earlier in the live stream, but yeah. No offense, but I don't know that much about Catholicism. What do you think of movies that portray religion? Are they accurate? Well, not all movies are accurate when they portray religion. A lot of times, even if movies are portraying a Catholic Church, I'm like, oh, that's wrong there, that's wrong there, that's wrong there. That wouldn't be that way in a Catholic Church. But I wouldn't say that's all movies. Actually, funny story. I don't know if any of you guys know this. But there's this old show called MacGyver. My dad used to watch it all the time. And got my sister and I watching it a little bit a few years ago. And there was this one episode I'll never forget. I was so happy when I saw it because, it's a story that MacGyver's trying to help this guy. I think he's this Italian guy. He's Catholic, nice classic Italian guy. And this guy was trying to fool MacGyver into thinking, oh, he's all good. He was going to do what MacGyver said. But he needed to go to confession, right? So he goes into this confessional booth, but the guy in the confessional booth isn't an actual priest. He's dressed as a priest, but he's actually one of the guys that's helping him out with this thing that he's just promised that he wasn't going to do. And he hands him a gun or something, and then he walks out to sit down in one of the pews, and then the priest leaves. And the priest goes by, and he crosses the altar, and he doesn't genuflect. And my first thought seeing that, I was like, guy didn't genuflect. He's obviously not a real priest, but whatever. I wonder where the conversation is going to go now. But then, literally the next thing that happened is, MacGyver looks over at the guy, he's like, what was up with that? And he was like, what? He was like, he didn't genuflect in front of the tabernacle. If he was a Catholic priest, he would do that. And then the guy was like, oh, shoot, have been caught, knock MacGyver out or something like that. I think that's what happened at least. But it was just like, hey, they got a little detail like that right. How awesome. But anyway, a lot of times I understand that's not the case. So I'd say be careful. Without a specific saying like, oh, does this accurately represent Catholicism, or does, like, without being able to see it specifically, I can't really say in general because things are all over the place. Okay. Okay, why doesn't the church become more transparent on abuses? Okay, so I think, again, I'm going to bring this up again because I think it's a very important distinction. When we talk about the church, there are two ways we can talk about the church. The church as the holy body of Christ, as the perfect, bride of Christ. Sorry, yeah, let me rephrase that. I said that wrong in the first place. The church as the holy bride of Christ, right? That's one way we talk about the church. And the church is the body of Christ as the members of the church. So the church is the holy bride, right? The church who is perfect, who Christ will not allow to fall into, heretical teaching, and the church as the body, as the people who make it up. That's an important distinction to make. And the situation here with, the church not being transparent with abuses is people that have official offices, maybe people that you'd be like, oh, they definitely represent the church, whether it be certain clergy members, not being transparent with this. Or even some people working for the church that, not all, this isn't pointing out anybody specifically, but certain people working in the church, not, paying attention or just kind of brushing it off, right? Those people are parts of the body of the church because they are Catholic, but they are not the holy perfect. They don't speak for the holy perfect church, right? So that's important to remember in this conversation. I just kind of wanted to point that out. So the fact, then we're talking about people, okay, why don't these specific people do that? Frankly, I don't know. I would say in general that a lot of Catholics, especially in this country, there's a lack of catechesis. There's a watering down of catechesis. People don't care about their faith as much. I can't make any judgment on any particular person's soul, but I say in general, when I look at people in the church, I see a much, very watered down version of Catholicism in a lot of places, and I think that has a lot to do with slow deterioration. I'm not saying anything specifically caused anything, but I think things do deteriorate on some levels when you get to, oh, well, maybe this is okay, maybe this is okay, and then things again slowly deteriorate. We lose a concept of the importance of the little things, and we develop big problems when we don't pay close attention to the little things. So that's a very short answer to that, but yeah. Should there be another Catholic president? Maybe. If he is not living Catholicism, then no. Please no. Please no. Like, last thing we need is more examples of Catholics who are not doing what it, like, living what it means to be Catholic in places where people can look up to them more. Like, that's the last thing we need. So I can't say definitively, but if he's going against everything that is Catholicism and then claiming to be Catholic, I would say definitely not. But that might be a given answer. I don't know. Hello, Joseph. Hello. How's it going? Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. You guys are having an interesting conversation now. I'm not trying to ignore the conversation. I'm just have to get to the question part of things. So well, you skipped my question. I'm sorry that I skipped your question. Like I said, I missed some things because of stuff. So, yeah, because of the comment section scrolling up. If you guys have ever done a live stream before, sometimes when you're trying to scroll down to the next question, it like takes you all the way to the bottom and you got to find where you were, but you don't always find exactly where you were. So I don't know what the question was. I don't know if, yeah. Can you name all 266 popes? No, I can't. I'm not that talented, nor do I have the time to be able to become that talented. 266 popes, man. I can't do that. What would you all say to someone who battles depression to the point it actually interferes with prayer life and getting to Mass because of feelings of worthlessness, asking on behalf of family? That is a tough question. So there is a line between, because mental illness is a serious thing. I understand it's a serious thing. And there's an important line between, because sometimes mental illness literally does it to you. It literally, physically, like, you can't process, you can't do, like, it'd almost be dangerous to drive because it's so rough. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. I get it. Depression is a mental illness. It is something that a lot of times you can't control, right? At the same time, it is true that some people, I'm not saying all, I'm saying some people can use their mental illness to make excuses. I'm not saying that's what this person did. I'm not judging any particular heart. Again, I'm trying to be very sensitive with this issue because I know it's a serious thing and I know it's a hard thing. But I know that, sometimes people can have it and then use it as an excuse. That's just saying what happens in general. As far as, any specific situation that you have or that somebody has. Yeah, it's rough. Make sure you know the line between, and this isn't to say be scrupulous. This is not saying being scrupulous. This is to be honestly, charitably to yourself, calmly analyzing the situation of, okay, is this, Satan trying to use this physical thing, because clinical depression is not a spiritual attack, right? But sometimes, like the three main enemies, the world, the flesh, and the devil, can use other things to kind of like get at you in one way. So you have to be like, okay, is Satan, say, trying to use the fact that I have this mental illness to try to say, oh, you can't? Or is it actually the mental illness that is preventing me right now? Am I actually being prevented? Or, is there some sort of inner part of me that, might want to make an excuse? Don't be scrupulous over it. There's a very fine line. Don't be scrupulous over it. But, also be honest. Because there is a line where at a certain point you have to be like, okay, regardless of what my feelings are, like, I have to do what's right. On the other hand, there's the, if it's a mental illness, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Basically, and sometimes maybe ask somebody for help that really understands that kind of a situation, that can really help you through it, of like, okay, what kind of a situation is this? It's really important to know that. Yeah. As far as the feelings of worthlessness, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not somebody who knows this person's life intimately. I would say that one of the most important parts in I believe St. Ignatius of Loyola's spiritual exercises that I would say applies to this as well, is don't do anything. Don't make any big decisions when you're in such a low state. Again, he said that for the spiritual exercises, but I also think that particular scenario, that particular advice for this one particular point applies in this situation. If you're feeling this stuff, you know, okay, like, I'm sorry, and, you know, you can't, most of the time, you can't, or at least sometimes, I don't know, can't always do something about this. But you can control decisions you make. And the important thing is to not make any big decisions. Just wait. Just wait. Not saying you have to specifically act against it at the moment, but just wait. Don't make any decisions when you're in that kind of a, whether it's a frenzy or whether it's, you know, whatever it is, like, just hold off and ask somebody's help if that knows you well, if you need to. Yeah, so that's kind of the general thing I'd say, because you're not worthless and you are loved. And I know saying that doesn't make anything better. Trust me, I know saying it doesn't make anything better. The point is that it's true, more so than you realize. You're stronger than you realize. You are more beautiful in who you are than you may ever realize. And even though you can't feel it, you have to hold on to hope, because hope isn't a feeling, right? Hope isn't a feeling. Grace isn't a feeling. It's not something you can describe either. Like, a lot of times we like to say that this or that is a feeling, because, like, you can feel hopeful, but just because you can sometimes feel hope doesn't mean hope itself is a feeling. You know what I mean? So hold on to hope, even when it feels hopeless. That's the basic gist of it. And don't be alone. Don't be alone. Like, just don't be alone. That's incredibly important. Okay. Feel like I'm falling behind again in the comments. Challenge. Okay. Scroll me to the bottom again. Sorry guys. Man, I got really behind again. Man. Whoa. Whoa. Darn. Okay. Okay. What do you watch on YouTube, Joe? That's a pretty good question. Actually, sorry, that sounded really bad. That was a pretty good question. No, I didn't mean it like that. Well, let's see. I've watched Studio C a lot. Not as much anymore. So, but like, especially like back when I first found them, when I was in like my senior year of high school, I wasted way too much time like watching all of their videos, pretty much. So I did that a lot. Recently, I watch informational videos about Star Wars. Actually, I mean, I really love Star Wars, and I kind of like learning about it too, and learning about a bunch of intricate details about stuff that the movies don't exactly explain. So I watch some Star Wars YouTube channels. Always, obviously, not buying into every single theory that I see, but like, what if scenarios of like, oh, what if this person did that? You know, I like those a lot. Stuff about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I found some YouTube channels about that. So like, I watch some of those sometimes. I watch sports debate a lot. Too much. Yeah. And sometimes, like, a lot of times I don't agree with most of the people that I watch. But like, sometimes I enjoy laughing. Sometimes I just like, I agree partially with what they're saying, and I just watch these people argue, and I'm just like, you're right on this, but also wrong on this, and you're wrong on this, but also right on this, and you know, wish I could get in there myself and be like, whoa, okay, guys, here's how. here's, but I also understand they are professionals, so I would really have to be on my game if I was ever debating one of them. And I would be if I ever had that opportunity, which I don't see it. But hey, I'd still love to. I'd love to debate some professionals, journalists, or sports debaters on, stuff in the, not in basketball or baseball world. I don't know enough there, but in the football world, I definitely would love to. So if you guys know anybody, like, let me know. No. So I watch a lot of that. Not a whole lot of variety at the moment, but those are the few things that come to the top of my head at the moment. So yeah. Favorite Catholic movies? The Passion. That's my favorite movie in general. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. We are down to 38 viewers. I'm sorry that I'm boring, guys. And if I'm not boring, get your friends to watch. No, just kidding. It's okay. It's getting later, and this thing is going almost 2 hours long. Woohoo! What's your favorite saint? I'm curious about your answer too, Amy. I have kind of like a Mount Rushmore type thing. I really like Saint Joseph. It's funny, he and I don't like, like, I don't always quote talk much, not in obviously literal talking, like I'm not, I don't have any visions or anything like that. But as far as like praying to, like a lot of times there'll be a statue of Saint Joseph in a church, and sometimes like if there's a statue of the Blessed Virgin, I'll be saying Hail Mary and be like, hey mom, like this. But with Saint Joseph, like my relationship with him is never that. It's just like I look at him and he looked like, just looking in silence, kind of like what he is in the Bible. Like he doesn't say anything in the Bible. He doesn't say, there's nothing being said between us, there either. It's just looking like, yeah, that's basically what it's like when I look at a statue of Saint Joseph and try to pray. It's like, he's just kind of like there, and there's no word that needs to be said. Saint Michael is also up there. Saint Michael is my confirmation saint, and he was huge for me. Saint Jude I also really like a lot, because impossible cases, and well, not only am I one, but I also run into a lot of them. So yeah, those are kind of like, I think, my top three. I also love Maria Goretti a lot. Yeah, there are a lot. So scroll down slowly, because I think if I scroll down slowly, like it doesn't jump to the bottom as fast. So okay, try to skim through the conversation. Sorry if I miss questions again, because I'm trying to not read the entire thing, because we will be here all night. Oh, I love this question. Joseph, I recall watching one of your videos in which you swerve your clasped hands around your back without unclasping. How do you possibly even begin to train for that? I love that question, Harold. How do I train for that? I don't train for it. But so basically it's a thing where I'm double jointed in my shoulders. If any of you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the video Weird Things to Give Up for Lent, the very last thing that we do there, I do this thing where I'm not going to do it here now, but I can clasp my hands together here and then bring them around to behind me, without letting go. Don't try it. Don't hurt yourself. But point being, I can do it. I've been able to do it since I was in like kindergarten. The one time I actually got out of trouble was when I did that in front of it. I just kind of did it like it was second nature. And he was like, what was that? And I was like, what? And then it was like, what? And he called some other people, like, look at this is crazy. Totally forgot about whatever. He totally forgot about what he had me in trouble for. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm double jointed, and that's why I'm able to do it. It doesn't require any training. If you're not double jointed, I don't think it's even possible to learn. So don't try it. You could hurt yourself. Seriously. I do not recommend trying that at all. Unless you already know you can. Yeah. So that's kind of the situation there. Is there intelligent life in the universe other than humans? I don't know. If we find out, I'll let you know. Unless you find out first, and you let me know. Do you have any advice for being able to be more open about what you believe in? Even going to my Catholic high school, I find it difficult to sometimes stand up for my faith, and I'm afraid to make... I don't know what the rest of that was supposed to be, but to answer the question, yeah, it's a hard situation because, you know, what you feel when you're in that situation, you know, it could be pretty easy for me to say, hey, like, obviously you would do this, say it all suave. Obviously you would do it in this situation. How could you not think of this? You know, it would be easy for somebody to say that. I'm not saying that because, you know, I get that it feels different when you're in the moment. But, the most important thing is to persevere through, right? We're called to pick up our cross. So because it's difficult, I understand it's difficult. That's the first reason to be like, okay, perseverance is something I have to, you know, make sure is on my mind as well. Second thing, if people are talking to be like, oh, you know, why you believe this or whatever, you know, try to give them an answer. If you don't have an answer, don't try and fake it and give them like this terrible answer that doesn't make sense. You know, don't fall under the pressure of doing that. Be like, I don't know the answer to that right now, but I will go and try and find it. And then when you do find it, go back and be like, hey, I have an answer to that question you were telling me about. And then you can continue a conversation. If they say something else you don't know, go back and do the same thing all over again. And eventually, like, you know, they may grow a lot and respect you more and be like, oh, I'm sorry I teased you, or, you know, I'm sorry that, you know, this happened or whatever. But you also learn more about your faith, about why you believe. And in the end, by learning more about why you believe something, shouldn't encourage you to pride, but should encourage you to love what you believe more. That's what it should do. So I hope that helps. I need to go fast because this thing has been going on for 2 hours and my back is hurting. But I want to talk to you guys really bad. So this is the last call for any questions as far as stuff has to go with New Catholic Generations or any more you guys want to know about. I guess even what's been happening over the past several months. Let me know. I'll be giving those questions some priority. So that is what I'm going to be doing. Okay, gonna skip through this real quick. Sorry guys, I'm missing some stuff. Oh man, it took me all the way to the bottom. Shoot. Okay. Okay. Sorry guys, just trying to find where to go with this. Yeah, thanks, Amy. My back is hurting because I've been sitting in the same position for 2 hours in a metal chair. Well, granted, I'm sitting on a pillow, but still. No, I'm not going to stretch. I want to talk to you guys. Okay, so, like I said, I missed some stuff. I'm really sorry. Oh, wait. Does Joe do Q&As every week, or what is his schedule? I do not do them every week. This is not something that has been regular, but it is something I'm doing this time, again, particularly because we haven't put a lot out on the channel recently. wanted to do something for you guys, give you guys some sort of an update, some sort of way of interacting with us, let you know that we have stuff coming, I promise. So yeah, stuff is coming. Joe, I saw that we've had a good session, so one more question and or wrap it up. Okay, Amy, thank you for insisting, because I could probably go on this forever. All right, guys, so one more question. Give it your best shot. Let's go. Let's make it a good one. Amy said one more, so we got one more. She's, even from a distance, like a good friend, she's helping to make sure I don't overdo myself. So one more question. Best you guys got. Let's roll. Okay? Give you guys a little bit of time to answer. Some people are saying goodnight. Okay, darn, man. Saying goodnight instead of offering one more question. Okay, that's okay. No, you're good. I'm not actually trying to guilt you. Just saying I miss you guys. Okay. All right, guys. So as the last of the questions come in, I think that I'm going to tell you guys one of my favorite things. I think I might have mentioned this in an Advent video last year. One of my favorite things that I ever did for Christmas was this one year. My family and I made cookies for some of our good friends in the area. And we surprised them that day at their houses with these cookies. Originally, we had planned to go to like 5 different people's houses. We only made it to 2 because the first person's house we went there in the morning, and then we just were there all morning just talking and having a good time. Next people, we went there in the afternoon, and same thing. Talked all into the evening. Ended up going home. Only delivered cookies to 2 people's houses, but definitely one of my favorite Christmas memories ever was doing that. There was something so much that was so present in our lives then that is very much in what Christmas is that I'll never forget. So I'd kind of like to encourage you guys in these days, as Christmas is almost here, right? To remember that, even though society will stop celebrating Christmas once the 25th rolls around, we'll still be celebrating it. Do some good works in a special way sometime during the 12 days of Christmas. That's my mission for you guys. As the 12 days of Christmas comes around, do something truly out of your way good for somebody that surprises them in a small way. Surprise somebody that likes surprises, but surprise somebody. And make them feel that you love them. Again, even in a small way, just do it. All right. I'm going to look at the questions, see what you guys got for the last one, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see what it is, guys. Because there are probably a bunch of good ones in here, and it's going to be hard to pick. Let's see. Uh-oh, Joe, Amy's scolding you. Yes, that's true. A story about your personal experience with God. Goodness, that would take forever. Amy would scold me again if I chose to answer that question. So I won't do it. Amy, you should be proud of me. See? Okay. Okay, that's a pretty good question. That's I love that question. I might answer that. Okay, Amy, I might have to do 2, but the second one is really short. Is that okay? Also, if this is a quick answer as well, if I had the chance to see Jesus, I would tell him that I love him, which is what I tell him when I go and see him at church every time I go to church. So, yeah. So he would just be hearing much of the same thing. So I'm sure I wouldn't be an interesting person for him to appear to. Okay. Alrighty. I think keep it brief. Yeah. Okay, Amy, I got you. All right, I'll scroll back up to the question the two questions that I will answer. Okay. Okay. The short one, the one that Amy is making me make short. What are my plans for world domination? My plans for world domination are as follows. Eat all the cookies. Yeah. When I eat all the cookies, then everybody will be like, where are all the cookies? We must have cookies in our life in order to continue living. Because how can you not have cookies, right? Everybody will be very upset. And they'll know that I have all the cookies. Okay, maybe I won't eat all the cookies. I'll have all the cookies. And all the ingredients to be able to make cookies. And all of the directions on how to make cookies. And then everybody will bow to me. And I, because I will have all of the cookie recipes, whether they're good or bad. That's how I will take over the world. Okay, that's my short answer. It was short, right? It was under a minute. So I call it short because I go over things. Yeah, so last real question. How did you get involved in New Catholic Generation? That is going to be the question that I answer. I got involved in New Catholic Generation 6 years ago. I had started my own YouTube channel on October the 6th, 2012. And, I've been doing it for a few weeks, and I'd started to get these comments on my video, my first video. They're like, oh, you should join New Catholic Generation. I was like, okay. I responded to these comments, what's New Catholic Generation? And I wouldn't get a response to those. I just kept getting more comments saying, you should join New Catholic Generation. What is New Catholic Generation? I had no idea. But eventually, I think back in the days when messaging, like emailing people via YouTube email messenger thing, back when that was a thing, back when people actually looked at that, Renee contacted me through that. And she was like, hey, somebody showed me your thing. Would you want to be on the website? I was like, yeah, sure. So that was kind of how that happened. I got a Facebook a few months later because I didn't have Facebook at that time when I was 15. When I was 15, I got a Facebook and then was joined to some of the vloggers that were on that Facebook group and, continued to grow and continued to talk to them. And things kind of escalated from there. So, yeah, that's the story there. So that is my answer to said question. Scrolling down to the bottom to see if Amy scolded me for anything again, because I might have deserved it. Yeah, okay, I haven't. So I'm at the bottom here. Thank you guys so much for, joining me on this live stream. If you have any further questions, I would encourage you to follow New Catholic Generation on Instagram. Follow all of our social media accounts, our Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. I'm not sure if we've updated Snapchat recently. Check on that. But follow us on all of those for updates of what's going to be happening. We're hoping to use social media a lot more to update you guys of what's been happening. But also follow me on my Instagram to get updates as far as either me personally or even some stuff that happens with New Catholic Generation. I will answer some stuff there on my personal Instagram. That's JEM as in Michael P, aka TCA 97. That's my Instagram, or you can follow me on Twitter at CatholicJoe16. And then through those things, I also sometimes put stuff there. So if you want to see some stuff as far as that goes, then go ahead, check that stuff out. Also follow Amy on Twitter, which I believe Amy's Twitter is April Grace. Amy, you can put your Twitter in the comment section. I told you to, so go for it. I'm bossing you around now. No, just kidding. I can't tell you what to do. Anyway, yeah, so that's going to be the end of it for tonight. Thank you guys so much. Also follow New Catholic Generation on Twitter. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for everything. Thank you for coming on. If you have any further questions, feel free to let us know. And we look forward to making more content for you guys in the future. Love you guys so much. We're, coming back more than before, and look forward to future videos with you guys. Yeah. So with that, I will sign off. May God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care, or what's left of your day. Have a wonderful day. Take care. And Viva Cristo Rey. Bye.